Hello and welcome back to another episode of Let Loose with Moose. Today I have with me 0xShinchan. Hey Shinchan, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing very well and super excited to have our chat here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too.
Alright then, without further ado, I would like to hear about your crypto origin story, right? How did you get into crypto, and especially now I understand you are full-time in crypto as well. So let's hear it from you.
Yeah. So, um, if like for my crypto journey, actually it dated back to like 2016. I would say like 2015 and 2016, when I was still in the university, and my friends in the uni, they were actually associated with some kind of like blockchain clubs, and then they started to read some white papers on Bitcoin, and then they told me like Bitcoin is a next type of like gold and commodities that most people will fight for, so you gotta like ape in for now before the price went up. And at that time it was my first time that I got to know the existence of Bitcoin and what 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 the purpose it was for. But then I was a little bit hesitant because I'm not sure about like the adoption and how people are actually how people were actually using it for. And I don't see like a really like a product market fit at a time. So I was a little bit dubious. I just like bought a little bit because my friends had been asking me to do so. And I just put it there, and then I was like, yeah, I would just wait and see how things go. And then I guess like it's in 2019, um, that we really the start of DeFi summer, and especially with the launch of BNB chain afterwards, and also with PancakeSwap, that I really started to understand more about cryptocurrency and Ethereum blockchain and decentralized finance, and how staking and tokenomics work in a more broader sense. And I think the first protocol that I actually play with was actually PancakeSwap. So back then, when you had the cake tokens, then you
Mm-hmm.
can do some like stick it and cake. I'm not sure if you did that before, like back in the early stages. And that was offering like 100 to 200% APR, and that was like I was thinking like, well, how come I could get this type of like free money so easily by just getting tokens, and I'm getting some additional tokens back. And then I started to really wanted to understand what's the mechanics behind, and how a protocol actually started, how they did fundraise, how they do marketing and BD, and how they expanded the concept and also their products to the community, and finally how they sustain the products with different value proposition and different maybe niches. And yeah, that's how it gets started. And then I would say back in 2019 to 2020, the DeFi market was not that sophisticated. It's still at its premature stage. All the trading features and available products were kind of limited. Um, people were like more on like simple token swap and liquidity provision, and also maybe like staking. But it's not like now when we have all the rolled up solutions. We have perps, and we have some more sophisticated trade fi products like interest rate swaps and stuff like that. And then I was wondering, like, instead of just being a normal trader or liquidity provider on a platform, I actually really wanted to contribute to maybe community, or maybe to like writing, to understand how really blockchain works, and why do we need it, right? So starting from 2021, I actually like joined different crypto Telegram groups and also Discord servers, starting to chat with different protocol founders and core team, and then I literally told them like, I'm really interested in DeFi. I have been researching on the protocol, tokenomics, and your products, and I really wanted to get involved. So if you guys are looking for something like some roles like maybe freelance writer or intern, I am happy to help out. And that's how I get started on my crypto journey. But then after I graduated from the university, I felt like I got to find a really stable job. And at that time, I think it's after the ICO bubble, and the market was not performing pretty well, especially in the crypto space. So I actually got into the government job in Hong Kong, and I was thinking like, well, I can do trading and do all the crypto stuff maybe as a hobby, as some I just to play with it in my leisure time, but I need a really reliable, stable job. But after seeing the rise of more layer ones, especially with Solana, and then I felt like I is really my interest, and I really wanted to get a job in cryptocurrency. And so that's about 2 years ago, I got started in venture capital in Hong Kong, and mostly on marketing, advisory, and PR services. And yeah, that's how the entire crypto journey was. And maybe just the last thing is that currently I am with Kobo. So I'm the BD of Kobo, and Kobo is actually the only custody solutions for digital assets. And they do like off exchange settlement, MPC, and also hardware custody. And they have wallet as a service. And I'm actually responsible for Kobo Argus, and basically, Kobo Argus is the on-chain asset management platform within the Gnosis Safe multi-sig wallet. And what we offer is that users, they're able to within multi-sig, they're able to perform single signature and role-based control, and also exercise different strategy bots for trading and farming, and even emergency exit. Yeah, so that's like a full story of how I began my crypto journey.
Nice. I mean, that's really interesting. I didn't know that you started like way back since 2015, 2016. Are you still holding on to that Bitcoin that you bought back then?
Oh, I of course not all of them, but I kept some of them. But because I was like university student, right? So I didn't really get too much of Bitcoin, but I actually put them in my cold wallet for now.
Awesome. I mean, at least
Yeah.
you still have it. I think that's great.
Yeah, yeah.
So I like how you mentioned the pancake swap and all right at the initial. Like, were you playing with shit coins or like altcoins back then, or like just purchasing and staking the cake token?
Well, back then, first it was actually I first got some BNB token first, because when Binance was still like uh, was the Binance app was still not being like sensitively or legally um, I would say like usable in Hong Kong. That I started using Binance and FTX since they launched actually. So I got the BNB token mostly because I was intrigued by their launchpad. And back then, when they first launched the launchpad, and also different like football clubs tokens, then you got like 20x or 30x when you got the tokens allocation after the TGE. So that's why I hold the BNB tokens. And then after that, it's actually between conversations between myself and my friends that they were staking the Pancake tokens. So I got to Pancake, and I actually play with Pancake Bunny, as you mentioned. So they also do some kind of like octo compounding, and these were more like I would say simple farming strategies. And when at that point of time, I actually try to understand curve finance. But I think for any newbie who were new to DeFi and crypto, when they first hop on that, I would say the original platform and UI UX design is kind of like very complicated to understand and also to perform different transactions. And that's why I mostly focus on BNB chain because the gas fees are also cheaper, and because it's the also Pancake Swap, there had been rumors like it's being backed by Binance, or they have close relationships. So I believe they were more kind of like trusted sources of staking. Other than BNB chain, I actually got involved also in like Solana and Avalanche, Phantom, yes, and also the Terra blockchain. I guess that would be back in like 2020 or between 2021. I don't exactly remember, but like on different blockchains, there were like decentralized exchanges, of course, and they were starting to be more sophisticated TradeFi products actually on Solana. So I actually use a few of their dApps, and that includes like Friction Labs. I'm not sure if you've heard of that. So Friction Labs is more like a options protocol that you can buy or sell major wrap tokens like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and of course Solana. And then yeah, so that's basically how I been through the different blockchains, I would say. Yeah, but I guess like I would say because I have been in the crypto industry for some time, but I feel like for users to actually understand the whole mechanism, it's the onboarding procedures are still quite complex because when you perform a token swap, right, it's not just about I input the token that I want to swap and what token I want to receive, and also I reveal the sleep page and also the rate of the swap, and that's it. You also have to do some like token approval, and you have to wait for the transaction to go through. And if you are doing liquidity provision, then you have to perform tokens and rewards claiming from time to time. So I think to me, it is that by navigating through different DeFi protocols and performing different type of strategies, and I started to like understand the complexity, but also the opportunities behind different DeFi protocols. Yeah. And speaking of that, I was actually the victim of FTX. So
Oh.
yeah, FTX first, like, but not that a heavy loss for me. I actually withdrew all my liquidity except the FTT tokens
Mm-hmm.
before before they closed down. But yeah, I got a bunch of FTT tokens because when they first launched, they have some like fee rebates if you stake the FTT token. So I've been staking that for free transaction. You don't have to pay transaction fee if you stake the FTT token. It's some
Right.
like fee rebates and stuff like that back when they launched. Yeah, and I also actually play with Anchor Protocol, the UST staking one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I think in Terra they have a very comprehensive ecosystem surrounding UST. So right at that time, I was actually in some other protocols as well that you can deposit UST as collateral. You can borrow some other tokens for LPs and lending or borrowing, and they also have some synthetics tokens for US stock. And that's how you can use UST as a trading currency to buy and sell the US stock tokens. And oh, actually, one more thing is that I was also active in the Cosmos ecosystem. So
Mm-hmm.
specifically Atom, but it's very unfortunate that back then Cosmo was using only the UST token as the dominant stablecoin. So they had a hard hit after the FTX collapse and crisis, and what I do right now is that I just stick my Actem tokens that I used to hold and just stake it with the validators, and that's it. Yeah.
I think I still think that Cosmos and IBCO is pretty cool, right? I mean, and you've been getting lots of airdrops with your stake Atom, I believe.
Yeah. They have a very, I would say, like interconnected ecosystem with some other blockchains. I was actually with one blockchain like I'm not sure if you heard of the Chihuahua. So there was a Chihuahua chain that like using meme coin as the gas fees, and then they
I
also
think
airdrop a bunch of millions of meme tokens. But of course, it wouldn't be worth millions, but it's quite like, yeah, you got a lot of opportunities, and also with secret network and osmosis as well.
I want to move on to the next question here, right? I mean, since you mentioned earlier that you're really passionate about crypto and DeFi, and that that's why you chose to try to contribute to the community and projects, and now you're here working full time in the industry, right? So then I
Mhm.
want to
Yeah.
ask, like, why are you so bullish on DeFi? Could you share that with us?
Yeah, I think it this question actually goes back to the concept of blockchain. When we look in the Web2 industry or traditional finance, we realize that whenever we have to perform a transaction, our information gets to be known by a third party. Just for example, if you are doing like peer-to-peer transaction on maybe PPS or some other wire transfer, then you needed a intermediary to help you verify and perform those simple actions. And I think what blockchain as a whole brings to a user is that you can have control of your transaction, and you are able to protect your identity to some sense if you keep on staying in just like the DeFi without connecting to centralized exchanges, of course. So I think that is a very attractive way of performing peer-to-peer transactions. Um, in terms of protecting your information, and also for seamless way of immediately sending the tokens. Yeah, because I guess it's more convenient in the day to day life, and also trade foreign market right now to do trading and transaction. But I feel like back then there would be some like lapse in time when you initiate a transaction and to the recipient getting back what you have sent. So I guess like for blockchain, it depends on the token per second and also the block time, but like ideally speaking, it's like instant and immediate. So I guess that's one of the things that I find really interesting and also very attractive to retail users and or maybe institutions as a whole. And second thing is that it's more on the trending narratives of POS actually. So how we maintain the security and operations and verify the blocks of the entire blockchain, it can actually be executed amongst different token stakers, node operators, and validators. And I feel like this is this is the spirit of decentralization and how it embodies in the blockchain design. So I believe like it is these two elements that drive the need for decentralized finance, and that is why I am bullish on DeFi as a whole. And so back to so because of all these natures that I mentioned, and back to DeFi, I think like DeFi actually provided many opportunities that you cannot find in the like real life money market, and also maybe like stock market and trade fi, generally speaking. And it's more like we have the autonomy and freedom to provide liquidity that we want. And I am an LP. I am somehow the market maker, although the price is determined by the participants and traders. So this is more like in an economic sense that everyone can play a part in, I would say, propelling a market movement instead of controlling the market. So that's one thing I feel like it's interesting. And the second thing, as I said, is that there are different options and opportunities for users to explore. For the most like simplest ones, it could be as easy as like staking, lending, borrowing. And for complicated ones, you can actually play around with different protocols. Just taking maybe Swell network as an example. So you can stake ETH for their Swell ETH, and then you can deposit in maybe Maverick protocol or some other dexes for LP, and then you can earn additional yield. And on top of that, you can maybe deposit the SF ETH as collateral to borrow stablecoin on some other LSD stablecoin platforms. So I feel like from one single asset or one single action that a protocol provides, it actually opens up the entire ecosystem for users to play around with. So I think this is kind of interesting for to me. Yeah.
Right, awesome. I think these are very valid points right there that you mentioned. And then, but as a
Mhm.
follow-up question, right, what do you think is like the biggest challenge in DeFi right now? For example, you mentioned earlier about the onboarding of users, right, for them to do just a token swap. It's not that simple. And maybe the on the provision of liquidity side, right, like is stickiness a problem with liquidity, right? People are always moving their money wherever giving the best use. So what do you
Mhm.
think is the biggest challenge right now?
Well, I think there would be a few challenges that we face. I think most recently, um, it's very unfortunate that we witness a number of security events and hacks happening, and it's on very like blue chip protocols, including the previous one on Curve, Balancer, and also Aave pausing the pools, right? So I think these kind of issues with smart contract security and how do we actually can protect users' fund in terms of all these events, and it it kind of like macroeconomically speaking, um, to those who have been experienced in DeFi and also to those who are new to DeFi, it's kind of like yeah, a double-edged sword, I would say, because it's about the confidence on whether you want to use DeFi or not after witnessing all this type of incidents, right? And I would say this is more on like a market performance one, but I think back to blockchain, um, the challenges in DeFi is that I would say there are two key challenges. So the first thing is that yeah, the user onboarding thing that I mentioned, um, is that when you perform a on-chain action, um, you have the type of security that a wallet DApp is able to provide or a protocol is able to provide is very limited, to some sense that we can see many DApp pages, their domains got like compromised, so that when you connect to the fake wallet, when if you're not aware of that, then your funds may get drained, just like what happened today with Velodrome and Aerodrome.
Mhm.
So I would say is the lack of very well-grounded protection that would deter people in continuously opting for DeFi as a yield opportunity and also as a long-term investment. And there is also some like follow-up actions that are available in case of events, right? Let's say when our protocol got hacked, is there any way that we could recover the fund? What's the negotiations involved? There seems to be, I would say, like it is always depends on the situations and scenarios that we don't really see a standardized approach in handling all these issues because of the complexity in smart contract. And this to me is maybe a deterrent to users when it comes to the protection of the funds. So that's one thing I believe it's a challenges. And the last thing it's more on um, it's actually more on the, apart from the user experience side, is more on the product market fit actually. So we see a lot of blockchains, be it layer one or layer two, whether is EVM compatible. We also see a lot of, I would say, protocols of similar nature, but maybe they do some modification on their tokenomics and product design. The gist is that whether there is a need for all these protocols, and whether the real world and also the traditional finance market, and also maybe in the entire society, whether they need these protocols, and what these protocols are trying to resolve, and what kind of opportunities they can actually provide users with. So I'm thinking like the issue of product market fit in the current DeFi landscape, it's still a it's still kind of like a tricky question for many protocols to
Mm-hmm.
resolve.
Got it. Right. And then the next question on the same topic, right, would then be, what do you think is the future of DeFi, and like how do you think we could get there?
Well, I think for now it's more about easing the user experience when they use DeFi. So recently, I believe it's the most trending topics. It's the account abstraction. So I think simplifying the user flow, and also understanding the intention and the outcome, and help them manage all the complexities in between, it's one way to get DeFi for mass adoption. And the second thing I believe is the involvement of institutions. Recently, we see JP Morgan and Citibank. I think they released some news or like research reports on using Avalanche
Mm-hmm.
for RWA tokenization. So I believe that with more institutional liquidity going in the market, and how they try to bridge back the Web3 back to Web2 and make them interconnected. It's how the way we can get DeFi for really a mass adoption and reality use cases, I would say. Yeah.
Right. Awesome. Totally agree with your whatever you just mentioned, right? Like really valid points there. And just out of my own curiosity, right, since you're in the industry in asset management, and maybe you have a different perspective. Do you think it's possible where like the institutions are coming in and they are providing like blockchain services to our everyday users, right? So for example, whatever we are transacting on is like being run on the blockchain on the back end, but to us on the users front end, right, it doesn't make a difference to us. But for people like us, right, we're always on chain looking for tokens to buy and thinking what will go up next. Do you think there's a possibility that with the institutions coming in and providing and more blockchain services, but there isn't a token or like something for us to so-called invest in?
Well, I think there could be like a lot of DeFi or blah 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 as a service narratives within the institutions. But I guess for institutions, there are two purposes. So first is that I believe many of these institutions, they are interested in DeFi, but they are not sure what's the most secure way that they could participate. So they are hesitant, or they would refrain from many complicated operations within DeFi. And so that's the first thing that I could imagine. And the second is that I believe many countries they are considering the usage of their currency stablecoin. So what they are exploring is that a practical framework for their country, their national currency type of stablecoin to be used for transaction. But I would say these type of transactions are more limited within authorities and institutions instead of really having retail users taking part in it. Yeah, but
Right.
of course, I would say like it's still a norm for of course a lot of like market makers who are from the traditional finance background institutions. They are participating on all these kind of actions to make sure that there are adequate liquidity for retail users or whales, and at the same time they're able to take profit from trading fees and also their position rebalancing to some extent. Yeah.
All right, got it. And then I want to move on, right, a little bit more onto to yourself, because
Hmm.
like on Twitter, right, you share a lot of explanations of certain protocols. For example, you did one on Frax Chain recently, right? And I think I saw
Yeah.
one on Swell Network as well. And
Hmm.
could we understand a little bit more about your investing framework, right? Like what are the factors or metrics that you look at, or what's your how do you form your thesis before you click that buy button?
Yeah. So to be honest, I seldom trade like small cap tokens, but I know many DeFi KOLs. They're very experienced in this. Um, and also, mostly when I invest in a protocol, apart from the tokens, I'm more on being the LP or performing trading actions. So that's my approach in using DeFi. And I think there's one of the factors that I consider is that when I invest in a token, right? So apart from its use cases and token design and the vesting schedule, stuff like that, which is very fundamental, we need to see if there is a narrative ongoing and whether there have been like a hype in those type of small cap tokens. Um, the thing that happens with me is that I'm always not the very early investor for this type of small cap tokens.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I saw that, whoa, it's happening, like a token is going up because of certain narratives, maybe it's a meme coin or maybe um, some small cap tokens that that maybe has a niche or something. I usually buy at the top and then sell at the low. So I mean, after experiencing all these crises, just for myself, I seldom trade tokens. But I would say I am more a farmer myself. So I provide liquidity to protocols like Pandle and IPER and SWETH to bet on, of course, some future retroactive rewards for users and also for the existing yield trading rewards and incentives that they offer. Yeah, so that's more on my personal approach when it comes to um, yield farming.
Awesome. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
and
great to hear that.
yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
um, yeah. I think maybe just one thing also about like the GMXV2, the GM pools. So currently they have different type of separate pool for the liquidity providers, right? So let's say you have BTC and also the USD tokens. And I think like as a liquidity provider, um, you are able to get yield sources from free streams. The first is that if you are using the stablecoin to deposit in the GM pool, you are betting on the upside of the altcoin that you are investing in. Let's say you are using the Bitcoin and stablecoin pool, then you're betting on the upside of Bitcoin. And the second thing is that you don't just benefit from the upside of Bitcoin, you also earn the trading fees from the protocol. And of course, the last thing is that you are able to make profits when the traders lose money. So I would say even if there is a drop in the price of Bitcoin, which is similar to the impermanent loss that you have to bear when you are providing liquidity on Uniswap, because when the more the token with a better price performance, you will get back with a little amount of that because of impermanent loss. So this case, you will have to see if you're able to balance out with the trader's loss, which turn into your own profit, and also the transaction fees that you're able to earn. So I would say it's more like a game theory and also all the calculation of possible yield sources whenever one is doing liquidity provision. So that's how I see like liquidity farming or liquidity provisioning in DeFi works.
Right. And actually I like that you mentioned that you're a farmer, right? And so do
Mhm.
you how sticky are you to a protocol with your liquidity? Or like do you constantly monitor, rebalance and shift your funds over to wherever pays you better yields?
Let me think. Actually, well, actually, for those with it depends actually. So for some protocols that they have a fixed term, then usually I would say I'm sticky because I got to wait until the expiry date, so that I can redeem the tokens for the maximal yield, and that is one thing with Pandal and also with IPER, because currently providing liquidity in the IPER STETH pool, you can do octo split between the STETH and also the IPER token. But because when you deposit the two type of tokens and you got to wait for the vesting to get back the yield that are vested out, so there exists like a specific time frame where you are able to like balance out your principal and also the interest. So yeah, so the first strategy for me is that it depends on the mechanism of the protocol whether I'm able to move my liquidity flexibly or really not because of some fixed term operations required. But then for um, I would say for now I'm more keen on being sticky than moving my funds from this protocol to that. Um, the the reason is that I would say for me for now I'm not those type of like stay kick earn kick type of LPs, but to really see what's the most active traded pools that I can pool my liquidity in, and just say on providing liquidity on Uniswap for trading fees. So I think there are a lot of factors that I should consider when I'm putting the liquidity in and how I rebalance my positions instead of seeing a new good farm, then I'm gonna A-bin, I'm gonna farm for like the first 12 hours and then I move my liquidity out. Because I think this is a very, I would say this is the strategy back then in DeFi summer. That's the most profitable way if you have a pack LP pairs, and whenever
Mm-hmm.
there is a protocol launch, you just pull in and then you farm and dump their protocol tokens and then you exit. But for now, I think I it's like I have gone through all the disasters and crises, so I'm being more cautious instead of being so like miscellaneous maybe. Not miscellaneous. I would say mercenary farming,
Mm-hmm.
I would say. Yeah. And
Right.
that's a yeah, so that's the thing I have in mind. Yeah.
Got it. I mean then since you're an active farmer, right? Would you be able to share like what is one hidden or underrated strategy that you've been doing?
Hidden, let me think.
Yep,
Well,
like
currently, I would say it's actually more on packed tokens that I'm doing LPing with. So so let me share one strategy that is simpler and one that is a bit more complicated. So for the first strategy is actually on the Sway network. And I'm not sure if have you ever been on the Sway network for liquidity provisions?
no, I have not.
Oh, so yeah, it's just like another layer one like Solana, right? And they have a lot of decentralized exchanges and also lending borrowing pools. So there have been sway incentives provided to the top, I think like top 5 to 10 protocols. Maybe it depends on how on how the protocols are, right? And when now if you provide peg LP tokens, let's say USDC and USDT on the protocols, they're currently offering like over like 2 digit or 3 digit APR. So that's in their protocol token of the decentralized exchange, and also the sway additional incentives. And I would say the yield is pretty crazy. And I used to stick with the top one to three protocols. Yeah, just a second. Let me check because I'm with my laptop. I remember. So the first, the top TVL protocol, and that is a DEX on Sway Network, is actually Cetus. And currently, if you are providing USDT, USDC, LP on their UniV3 type of DEX, they are giving you APR of 23%. Yeah. So for 23%, you get the trading fees, you get the CETUS protocol rewards, and also you get the Sway rewards. The Sway rewards are actually over 20%. So, and I think they have been consistently providing this type of rewards for, I would say, a couple of months. Yeah. So I would say it's a pretty good strategies if you have stablecoin that are idle but you're not sure of how to use it. Then this could be a good farming strategy. And yeah, so the second one is actually more, I would say, I wouldn't say complicated, but a little bit cumbersome because you have to do bridging and also active monitoring of LP. So I'm actually using Aperture Finance for their farming rewards on Manta network. And the reason is that, so just a little bit background about Aperture. So Aperture Finance, they do Uniswap V3 LP tooling. So you can set limit order and you can do position rebalancing based on TBL or based on your price range. And you just have to input all the parameters in their platform. And in case the conditions are met, and then it will automatically trigger the actions of automated LP rebalancing. So that's one thing. And the second is that Aperture also launched their Aperture Swap, which is a UniV3 DEX on the Manta network. And that's just identical to UniV3. But what they offer is that currently their Manta network is incentivizing a lot of leading protocols. Aperture is actually the second top protocol on the Manta network with over 4 million of TVL. And so what you can get is that by providing liquidity on Aperture Swap, you will get their Aperture airdrop tokens in future. So that's one thing. And the second thing is that because of because of their usage of Celestia as the data availability layer of the Manta network. And so the network is also entitled for Celestia airdrop. So that's the second thing if you are providing liquidity for the Celestia TIA tokens. And the third incentive is that apart from all these two, Meta Network is actually launching their Pacific Grants program. So they will be also airdropping Meta tokens to those who provide liquidity in Celestia TIA and also those who swap. So I would say performing either token trading strategies or LP strategies on Aperture or maybe some other protocols on Meta Network, you're able to accrue some points and also retrospective airdrops from the network. Yeah, so that's the second strategy.
And there you have it. Awesome.
Hmm.
Two strategies by ShinChan, right? Giving first one
Hmm.
giving 23% on a stable pair, and the second one getting multiple airdrops from providing liquidity on Aperture. Awesome.
Yeah.
Love it. All right, and then the next question would then be, what are you most excited about right now? Like, is there a certain sector or certain event, I don't know, certain protocol?
Well, I guess it's still back to LSD. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
because for the liquid staking narratives on Ethereum, of course people have been talking a lot about Lido dominance and maybe just staking ETH with some other top LSD protocols like Rocket Pool and Stickwise and stuff like that. But I guess there's actually an ongoing narrative about the DVT, which is the decentralized the other DVT, this decentralized validator technology, which is a development in the LSD protocols. So the thing about DVT, let me think about how I could illustrate it. So basically, the thing is that for DVT, um, for the Ethereum network, when they switch towards proof of stake, one of the concern is that there is power concentration within the network, because this consensus, they reward stakers based on how many ETH they're providing, meaning that how the amount of ETH they have stake in the network, and consequently there exists some kind of like disproportionate allocation amongst the ETH stakers that stands the risk of like power concentration. So this kind of thing, it's a concern for the entire network and also users themselves, and this is how I think DVT will seek to solve some kind of major issues. And there are a few major yeah, I'm trying to think of a better way to actually communicate this in an easier way. So I would say to understand DVT, it's basically they are lowering the threshold for you to provide ETH staking, because you do not need 32 ETH to become the node operator. And the benefit is that they are democratizing the ETH staking, in the sense that if you're a small player, you just are community stickers, you run a node but you don't have ETH, or if you have just 1 to 2 ETH but you want to become the node operator, then there stands a chance for you to participate. And with Light, and I can see that like Lido, they recently passed a proposal to onboard the simple DVT module using Obo and also the SSV network. Um, so it's a gesture that Lido is showing the willingness to open up decentralization, but also to ensure network security in the LSD landscape. And I feel like DVT, this type of technology, um, they plays an important role in enabling the distribution of a validator's responsibility among several nodes rather than a single machine. And it also enables anyone to build and distribute validators across several fault-tolerant machines. So this is one thing that I'm looking into, and I believe it will be a trending narrative for the LSD landscape as it goes forward.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds really interesting. I think I'll need to have a look at it after this as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, and then
Mm.
I know you mentioned that you don't really trade a lot, right? But I want to hear like some of your thoughts on the general market outlook for, let's say, the next 6 months or the next year. Where do you see us going, like 1 year from now?
Um, I mean, we have witnessed some really like bullish market sentiment in the past few weeks. Um, we saw that like Bitcoin going back to the 38k price level. So that has been like unprecedented in the past past year, I would say. Yeah, so I think people are starting to gain confidence back in the market with the price and the major blue chip tokens showing improvement. But at the same time, I think we also need to there. I think there are one to two like factors that determine whether the market will be bullish and go well in the next several quarters. The first thing would be the approval of ETF, because that's really how top tokens get recognized, especially for Bitcoin and Ethereum, to be traded in the public stock market, and that will onboard more institutions and also retail investors to really get to trade ETFs that is denominated in cryptocurrency. And as I remember, is like BlackRock had a meeting with the U.S. departments regarding the listing of the Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF, and they had a memo about that last week. So I think it depends on their progress and also the time schedule, which would likely to be finalized in the next Q1 or Q2 or 2024. Then if approved, then it would be a really good catalyst for the ongoing price performance for leading cryptocurrencies. So yeah, that's how I think about the market. I would say it's it could go well, but it depends on several factors, and one of the key factors would be the ETF.
Right, got it. Like, do you think, how likely do you think it's gonna be approved or rejected?
Well, I do hope it will be approved, and and I think I don't really recall, but I read a little bit about the memo about it. So I think in that is not just like BlackRock, also Nasdaq. They engage in discussions with the SEC regarding the permit to list the Bitcoin ETF. So I think there's some speculation is that the SEC, when they meet with these two big parties, and they may be close to making a decision on listing the spot Bitcoin ETF on the U.S. market. So if that's approved, then it would be a really important step forward for the mainstream adoption of crypto.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, and we've been chatting for quite a bit now, right? I want
Mhm.
to understand a bit more about yourself as well. So could you run us through a day in the life of Shinchan? Like, how does your day look like?
Usually on like weekdays, when I get up before work, I usually hop on Twitter and also different Telegram groups to chat with different DeFi writers and protocols, and also to see if there's any special events happening on the Twitter, and also on the crypto space. And then it's actually then like I have a 9 to 6 job. Then after I arrive the office, then I got to work, and after work, usually I like every maybe like once or twice every week, I would spend time on writing articles about crypto and also writing threads on X for my Twitter account. And that's how the weekdays go in my everyday life. And on weekends, usually I would spend more time with my friends and family and just to relax. But of course, I have to keep an eye on my money in case I put in some money in any protocol and there is an issue, then of course I have to take care of that, right? But other than that, usually I would just get to relax because I feel like working in crypto, it's a little bit different from Web2 or traditional market because crypto it's operating 24/7. So you have to be very stay vigilant of anything that is happening. And especially if you are in a crypto company, then you really need to be alert of any foreseeable events that would happen, which would impact on the operation of your company, or it would affect how you communicate with your clients. So I think this is one thing that whenever you work in crypto, you got to really be dedicated about staying informed of the market and also being aware of anything that's going on and take immediate actions just to protect yourself, but also to like um, maintain for your job, I would say.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
You have to be constantly checking the news and hoping like every time the Pack Shield does a tweet and you see a notification, you get a little panic attack.
Yeah, yeah, cause right now I'm on like asset custody and also on chain asset management, right? So, yeah, so that I would say like monitoring the market performance and also any events with protocols, it's a major thing that I gotta be aware of.
Yep. And I mean we've been chatting for quite a bit, right?
Mhm,
Let's wrap up with the next three questions, right? The last three questions. So could you
mhm.
share with us one piece of advice for your younger self?
Oh, buy more Bitcoin. Trust
Back in
my
the
friends and buy more Bitcoin.
back in
I would say, yeah,
2015,
my younger self. Yeah,
and then hold on to it until I don't know,
yeah.
next 10 years.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
that's a really a thing. But I'm still grateful that my friends like dragged me to crypto, I would say, um back in like 2015 or 16, so that I actually got a small bag of it.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Like, right then, since you said like buy more Bitcoin, right? What do you think would be the buy more Bitcoin of today, like instead of Bitcoin?
Well, actually, I think I would say NFA, but I think like seeing how Solana performed in the previous DeFi summer and also Avalanche, and particularly with institutional preferences on layer ones, um, it would be a maybe an option to consider to invest in alternative layer ones, just to bet on the upside in case of institutional adoption or in case there's ongoing narratives with those platforms. And one that I am looking into would be Sway Network, but I would say it's more speculative. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because there, I would, I know that there has been some controversies concerning the vesting of the Sway token, but I think we've seen pretty good performance of the Sway token the past few weeks, and then they also reach a milestone of like surpassing over 100 million TVL and also major milestone in trading activities. So I am seeing a very bullish performance in the DeFi sector.
All right. And then could you share with us your greatest lesson learned from crypto? Like, was there a super painful moment that you remember, or like it could be a moment where you got a really great trade or something?
Yeah, I think it's one. Is the theory about nothing is too big to fall. Because I was the I had been through the like the collapse of FTX and also the crisis with Terra and also the UST pack and the fall of the fall of the entire Terra ecosystem. So I feel like when FTX there were like ongoing rumors about FTX being insolvent, but then they hadn't really closed down their D app. I mean the centralized exchanges app. There people are still like very confident about FTX. They said something like, "No worries, FTX is gonna be fine because
Mm-hmm.
it's the largest cryptocurrency platform. How dare you think it would fall? But then it did fall." So one of the lessons that biggest lessons that I learned is that nothing is too big to fall. But I would say this is just like a realization instead of like preventive measures that you could take, because when not just you as a retail user but also big companies, funds, trading teams, and venture capitals and institutional clients, they all actually invested in FTX, and also they put in big liquidity in that. So I would say we got to be very cautious about liquidity, and also make safety exit in case of unpredictable events. So that's one thing. And the second thing I would say, because as I mentioned, I'm not really good at trading, right? Because I feel like trading is a very self-disciplined practice. If you trade at a token, you have to understand its performance instead of in terms of their price chart. You may need to set a very tight stop loss and also take profit. And I'm not those kind of person, because I experienced the upside of like Solana and Luna maybe. So I always tend to like believe in like just strong holding a token, and you will go like 50x or 100x. So one of the lesson I learned is that never just to stronghold for no reason. You got to set stop loss just to protect your principal, and also you got to set a take profit position in case if you are earning money. Yeah.
I think these are two really relevant and useful lessons for everyone, right? Even for myself, right? You mentioned about the FTX being too big to fail. I'm guilty of saying that as well, right? I purposely left like $100 in there, refusing taken like it'll be fine. Just purposely left it there like as a kind of so-called bet, right? That's gonna be fine. And then it didn't happen, right? Obviously. And yeah, being my first cycle, right, in here, definitely made the mistake of diamond handing and round tripping all the gains,
Hmm.
right? So yeah, I really like
Yeah.
the lessons that you shared here. Super relevant for myself, and I'm sure for many others as well.
Yeah. I mean, like trading can sometimes be very sentimental. That you just want to buy more because you were confident in something, and when many people are talking about this the same time, then you might get like impacted into making decisions that you may not be making initially.
Right.
Yeah.
All right then. To wrap things up, could you give me three guest nominations to come on my podcast in future?
I would say as Putman DeFi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so yeah, he's a very dedicated researcher, and also very prolific in terms of threading about key narratives, and also tokens that users can consider to invest in. And also he did a lot of deep dive into very sophisticated topics like CLVUSD, how it works, and I think he also covered on some like uni v3 options protocol that not a lot of people are aware of. So I think that's the first nomination I would yeah I would make. And the second would be Jingling Cookies.
That's a good one.
Yeah, Jingling Cookies. I'm not sure is he or she. but because to like cookies reminds me of more like a feminine touch. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, um she I like her Telegram channel. So she
Yes.
has a Telegram channel that is like constantly updating every 15 to 30 minutes, that she aggregates some important insights about DeFi protocol and also infrastructure. And yeah, she has one recently that is about some like hardware acceleration with some computing systems and also GPU, which is really interesting. And I would say the thread and also the articles that she featured are mostly very like degen and in depth. Yeah.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, cookies is doxed or on Twitter. I think that there's a photo
Oh.
somewhere if you go and dig into it. But yeah, I think her Telegram channel is super, super underrated. She
Mhm.
really shares a lot of she reads a lot, right? And then she shares all of it on the Telegram channel, which I think is really worth a follow. I mean, uh, shout out to Cookies here. Probably gonna link that channel down below since we're talking about this as well. Really hope that more people will go and sub to it, and you'll learn so much from that channel, I swear.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. And yeah, the last one I would say it's he's called Coke Sun. So the handle is Coke 0x. But mostly he's in he writes about DeFi in Chinese, but then I've been in touch with him before regarding free strategies actually. So yeah, the reason I would recommend him is that he covers very comprehensive content from token trading, and also the recent the USTC, the USD Classic stablecoin token, how he thinks about it, and also very sophisticated uni strategies on LP management. And he's also running his own mirror blog, and he shares more macro and research insights into infra and blockchains like Acela, and also how to do narrative trading and stuff like that. So yeah, I would say
Mm.
he's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I'll need to look into that thing. It sounds like really interesting account to follow
Mhm.
as well. And before we go off, is there anything else that you want to talk about that maybe we haven't covered yet?
I think we cover most of the topics. Yeah.
All right then. Then I think that is all that we wanted to talk about today, right? Thank you so much for taking the time to come on, and thank you to the listeners for tuning into this episode as well. So we'll be linking down ShinChan's Twitter down below, as well as Cookie's Telegram channel. I think that's really, really recommended. And yeah, we will see you in the next episode.
Thanks for that, Mos.
That brings us to the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. Before you go, do remember to give us a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button so you never miss a thing. Comment down below what you liked about this episode, who you like me to interview next, or any topics that you want to learn more about. Until next time, this is Moose moving out.